Welcome to Cast of Creators. We're your hosts. I'm Nelson Thal.
And I'm Casey Stewart. We've spent our careers in media and publishing, and now we're setting the stage for creative people who inspire us to share their stories.
On this episode, our guests are Brandon and Brittany Olsen. Brandon is a renowned chef who's founded some of Toronto's best restaurants, and Brittany, his wife, is a commercial producer and photographer.
The Olsens recently founded Le Melon, their new in-home dining experience. Our conversation covers their careers and some crazy stories about in-home experiences they've had with their guests. Oh, and we talk about making chocolate. Let's get to it.
Well, Brandon, Brittany, welcome on Cast of Creators. It is
thank you.
Such a pleasure to have you both here.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
Hello.
So we pretty well got together for dinner, maybe 2 months ago.
It's been 2 months?
I think it's probably 2 months.
It's almost July.
And I was starting to talk about this space, and it was coming together. And we thought, it would be great to do a podcast episode where we put out some grills and we could cook and talk and really do something sort of extremely unique around cooking, a couple grills spread out. And then a couple weeks ago, we're here at the studio after an episode eating with some guests. And we realized pretty quickly that it wasn't the best idea. I still think we should try it, but I'm very hesitant to try it on our first go.
Yeah.
But it would be a pleasure to cook with you again because I had an awesome time cooking with you.
I had a menu planned.
I bet you did.
I did.
I bet you. You think of menus.
I shed a tear when you're like, I can't do that. I'm like, okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Put away the apron.
I'll put away the apron.
And all the foie gras and the caviar.
Yeah. I know. Well, we the dinner that we had together at my place, we did cook together on the table.
Oh, and that Wagyu.
Yeah.
I heard about it. I saw photos. I asked if there was any left. Bring it here for me.
For lunch.
But that was also my first time ever cooking on a yakitori, home style yakitori grill, just a spread. I'm like, yo, this is definitely a vibe.
Oh,
right?
Such a vibe.
Very, you have a lot of fun with it, right?
I agree. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially with new friends. I find it's just such an easy way to not, eat everything so quickly.
Yeah.
Because normally, if I'll do a dinner party, if I don't do it that style, you've got to really think about stretching it out, else you spend 2 hours cooking.
Well, you're the only one cooking.
And and you're the only one.
Then
Exactly.
You're just hey, everyone else is kind of mingling and
hanging out.
And then you're whether your kitchen is kind of off to the side or beside, you're the only ones cooking, and then you're the only ones okay, you gotta time things and this and then okay, and then it's you sit down, you eat, and then you're okay, I'm gonna clear and do dessert. But if you get everyone involved,
Right.
you're all hey,
Now,
you can cook your over well done beef, and I'm not going to be upset about
that's
it.
nice too.
Because I like
That's
my
nice too.
medium rare.
Well, to pull off a great dinner party, you have to be a master at timing. Okay, and I'm sure that everything pretty well in the kitchen has a lot to do with just your ability to time everything.
Yeah, I think it comes down to execution, and timing is a massive component of it, right? Because if not only your time, but the guest's time, the time of a piece of product that takes to cook or not cook or to prepare, right? So your time to cook that, the time of the product to cook, and the timing of your guests to either sit down or do something to execute, right? So it's all it's just this big floating bubble of okay, here, and you just make everything work.
Like a dance.
Yeah, it's like a dance.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be,
right?
step 1, step 2, step 3. You can't just go 1 to 20 because then you're missing the 18 steps between, right?
Right.
So,
Brittany, did you ever think you'd fall in love with a chef? Move a little closer to the mic, Brittany.
No.
Or
I
pull it a
didn't.
little closer to yourself.
I definitely was open for anything. But it actually, you fell into my life kind of serendipitously enough. But it's a perk for sure. He ends up having a lot of fun cooking. And then everybody, once we have these really fine dining experiences for the in-home dining experience with Le Melon, people always ask, do you eat like this every day?
Right.
Do you?
Yes
No.
and no.
No, I'm going to be very honest on this podcast. Being a partner of a chef is not as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. Like, truth be told,
Some do, 'cause
truth
they
be
think
told,
you do eat
the
all the time.
our clients of Le Melon are the ones that get the better dinners. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I get
they
the
do.
guinea pig.
We do have great dinners, but it's like for us, it's just like it's a really nice protein, some vegetable and a sauce or salad.
yeah.
It's like it's really like really beautiful comfort food.
Yeah.
But like you go to someone's house to cook from, there's a level of expectation. But I don't know any chef that eats foie gras or truffles or Wagyu every day because you
True.
like
No.
I couldn't even function on that. It'd be like
Yeah.
a food coma the next day, right?
Yeah,
and
especially
also
that
just
combination is
it's just really sometimes we definitely we could make pancake night or we have whatever our daughter wants, homemade pizza or steak or just regular macaroni gratin, so there's not a convenience, but there is a romance to being a partner of a chef who can know how to cook because you're like, okay, when I ask for a medium rare steak, I'm going to get a medium rare steak, instead of going to my parents' house and my dad's like, oh, it's medium rare. I'm like, this is well done, Ken, but it's very much like, it's not like everyone thinks it's like, oh, it must be, glamorous, because also like previous to now, like when I actually had a restaurant, cooking on days off, man, when you're behind the stove for 16 hours. Last thing you want to do is really like, I've cooked for 2,000 people this week.
Yeah.
I love you, but you're 2001. It's like, it's just, do I have to? Let's go. Let's order out. Let's. How about you cook? How about you cook? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't hold a candle to it. I feel like most people feel nervous or intimidated.
Intimidated, yeah.
Cook than for a person that has culinary.
No different
experience.
than when we go to your house. You're like, it's like, I saw some sweat. I saw some, your forehead sweat dripping.
I love to cook for people who know how to cook, actually. I enjoy that. Actually, some of the things that I enjoy are the hardest things to cook. Like, I would love to make an omelet for you. I would love to make, all sorts of things that you would consider hard. I would love to cook for you.
I would love for you to make an omelet, and I kind of critique it and see how, because omelets are hard. Eggs are very hard to cook. Eggs are one of the hardest things to cook.
I would love to make you an omelet.
I will say I haven't mastered everything in life, but I could definitely claim that I have mastered the omelet.
Amazing! Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, you have to do an omelet. You cook.
Well,
the
nice thing about
bring it here. Okay,
I met my wife over an omelet.
Yeah,
Actually,
yes,
good way to meet.
That's how we met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said openly at an event I was doing by a corporate sponsor. She said, "You can make me an omelet any day."
Oh.
Yeah, that's good.
Shit. You were like, okay.
Yeah, put that on record.
That's good.
Well, that's
That's
how
a
it
good
all
one.
started. Started over an omelet.
I did actually, yeah.
Nice, well-cooked French omelet.
It was
super fluffy, creamy in the middle.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to say, I've never had an omelet like that before.
No,
The standard was
probably
still
not.
Very high.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, not a lot of people make an omelet like that.
I look forward to yours.
Thank you. I can make one just like that.
But I have also never made her an omelet after that, because like if I don't hit the same bench or higher, our relationship could be doomed. Like it could be like the foundation is kind of crumbling off of that.
Absolutely.
He's slipping.
Yeah. Like, you're not the man I thought you were.
Yeah.
Well, anything where there's a lot of technique and feel, I gravitate towards. I find in cooking and a lot of stuff in life too. But I'm not as interested in baking. Anything that's very personally, that's all science and
mathematics. My God,
it's not my. It doesn't interest me as much. Although during the pandemic, Talia and I did start baking some cakes.
Oh, yes, they made it.
And I did enjoy the icing part of it, because the icing,
the buttercreams
the buttercreams.
Oh yeah, the buttercream.
I realized that, you know what, you can get away with buying the cake mix, but you can't get away with buying the icing.
No.
Okay. You can get away with buying the cake mix. Okay. But the icing, if you buy the icing, it is a much worse cake with bought icing than homemade icing.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're going to buy one of them, buy the cake mix, make the icing.
Make the buttercream.
Yeah.
Not fondant. Make buttercream.
I like buttercream.
I
right.
despise fondant.
I don't like fondant either.
You also like cakes that have
it's
layers
gross.
of the buttercream.
I think we were talking about this on Sunday on a
Yeah.
drive back from Sauble Beach, was like, if I could have a cake that, like, you know, less cake, more layers of buttercream.
Yes.
But like hard buttercream right out of the fridge, because it's like, it's
like
also
a
a very
cake out of the
textural thing for me.
Yes.
Because it splits in your mouth. I guess it's like taking a knife and it just like,
Yeah.
So it's not crumbly. It's just like a sharp cut. It's like even. It's like, I like that.
Yes.
It's not a warm buttercream. It's got to be out of the fridge.
Yes.
But more buttercream. I'm a fan of thick sides of cake.
Yes.
So the icing around needs to be, like, it has to be generous.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Wow, we
I
just dove
agree.
into a category I never thought we'd
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you'd
Let
be
me-
surprised
oh, man,
where this goes.
I will say, like, sometimes I buy cupcakes for our daughter at Loblaws just based on the buttercream topping and how much it is and what it is. You know, whether that's kind of skimpy. I'm not going to get that one, but that one in the back, that's got
that
a lot of buttercream. I'll eat that one first, and then maybe I'll nibble on the cake. And if it's good cake, I'll finish it. But the icing's always the first one to go.
So if I were a professional chef and my wife was we were building a cooking business, I would not fit in this chair. And I think it would be a disaster for me because I taste and I eat and I taste and everything I cook I taste, especially desserts. I could never be a baker. How do you two, keep it so together?
So I was going to say, I remember always hearing, you can't trust a skinny chef. Do you remember that?
Yes,
kind of
I've
thing?
heard that too. Yeah.
No, I'm just a fat kid in a skinny suit.
Are you just a fast metabolism person?
I don't know. I think I've always had a fast metabolism, but I'm also very much like,
That's nice to
like
hear
I
that.
taste things. I like taste. But like if you actually look at me on a 24-hour day of when I'm working, how much I actually physically eat, it's not that much.
Right.
Like
Oh,
I get my calories here and
That
there,
helps.
but
And the
like
fast
that would be the
And you're like
difference.
moving
well,
all
I'm
the
moving
time.
all the time. But
moving.
you know, when
Yeah.
if we were to go out for dinner, that's when I like, okay,
You
we're gonna
sit
I sit and
eat.
We ate
I
a
don't
lot at
like
my
eating.
place.
I don't like eating and moving
Yeah.
because there's no enjoyment and you don't get to really appreciate it. I gotta taste and move at the same time, but tasting something is different than actually sitting down to appreciate the final product. So when we
Savoring.
go out to eat, I'm always just like, we always over order and
Yes.
like, man, why do we do that? I'm like, because I wanted to taste this.
Yeah.
I want to eat
Experience
this.
it.
And,
Yeah.
but that's when I like to eat, and then I roll out. Brittany rolls me out of the restaurant, and I just wake up the next day. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if we needed that extra dish or two.
But no, to be fair, there's a lot of fun culinary experiences in the city, and then we love to travel. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, a lot of great restaurants obviously closed up or have kind of like recalibrated a few things. So we're looking forward to friends who have new creations to open up when they do, and then just experiencing all the fun, different cultural dishes and things that are out there.
But we're also very two active people. Like
Yeah.
Brittany likes to work out. I try to work out as whenever I get spare time. Like I used to do Ironman and
wow.
Triathlons back in my early career of
Cool.
cooking. But like, as you slightly get older, you kind of like, oh man, imagine going out for a 6 a.m. run. 6 a.m. coffee
it.
for sure. 6 a.m. run.
We've done it. If I'm really in the urge to get you out, you come.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But so to be honest, the hustle
Yeah.
to do these dinners, it's roughly 4.5 hours of dinner for a 5-course dinner that we've been doing for people. But the grind of leading into it, the dinner, and then packing it up, we do everything. We bring everything.
Yeah.
That's a workout. Like that's a workout there.
Yeah.
Just bringing all the 60 plates for 5-course meal for 12 people. That's a lot of weight to go upstairs and bring it, like, so it's like, maybe that's kind of a workout, and that's how I keep this beautiful figure of mine.
Yeah, that'll help. So tell us a little bit more about your business, okay? So you started this during COVID?
Yeah, so it kind of, the seed was planted during COVID. It got asked to do a few, like, you know, under the radar COVID dinners, whether it's in Muskoka or someone's actually your neighbor across the way. And it was very much like, listen, I'll do these, but like, I don't want no social media, no nothing. Like, and it only took people that I knew. Like, it was no like random callers like, hey, I need dinner. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So they were very much like clients I've already had in the past. And there was like specific rules, like, listen, like, you know, it was way before any of the, you know, vaccines or when like rapid tests were like not really relatively available. So it's kind of like, listen, like, if you're not feeling well, like, I don't really want to like do this, but I also was like, I need a job. So we kind of did this. And then we'd go up and down with the rules of the pandemic,
the restrictions
and all that. And then around September of last year, it kind of really started picking up after kind of like this Labor Day weekend backyard party. And then we just met this really great client, and then he referred us, and then more dinners. He would say, hey, I really enjoy this. Let's maybe do 2 a month. So he's like, once every 2 weeks we'd do this, and then he got referred, and then we would meet people, and then also like we started
an account at that point.
Yeah, we started an account, and then we're just like, well, you know, let's do this. Let's see where it goes. It's not going to be like our full-time jobs, because we have 2 full-time jobs, but it's like you never know where it could go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we officially started Les Melon in January of this year, 2022, sorry. You know, where it's like, okay, like, if we're going to do this, like, let's actually like properly do this and grow this thing to maybe one day it could be a thing. So we invested in great cutlery, great plateware. We opened out a social media account, so we're not just like, you know, super DIY, even though we are still slightly DIY. But like, give us some legitimacy of our company, other than just, you know, the end experience being the legitimate thing. Make it a full legitimate from start to finish. And then literally, I think once we started slowly posting on social media,
but people. So I'm a producer and photographer. Yeah, and so I was like, let's do it. Like, we do social media and all that kind of stuff. So it's just like, you cook, I can bring some talent to this. And let's merge it and make it a beautiful baby. And then not Blog.to, but a few of the Taste Toronto Life was, and then Toronto Life reached out, and I was like, I didn't really know, because we were actually still in a lot, like the last major lockdown in January, I was still doing them. And I was like, I don't really want to promote this, but I'm like, also like I know what, like, when I started my first chocolate company, CXBO, is very much on the same lines as the way the direction this was. Super like DIY, very kind of like, okay, we didn't have a lot of like capital to start it, and then it just blew up, and it blew up so fast that we just couldn't catch up. And it was like, it was kind of like a double-edged sword, where you're like, great, we're making top line revenue, bad because we can't service our clients at the level that we want to, but we're still a young company, so we need to drive the revenue. But it's kind of like this, you know, tug and pull. Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, we debated, like, you know, Taste Toronto Life, and like, okay, let's go with Toronto Life, and we did the article. We did. And then it came out maybe 2 days later after.
Oh, it was so quick.
And then like literally, like within a 24-hour period, we were booked in from February all the way to
April, May.
Yeah. Like people just like,
our DMs blew up.
Just blew up. Like, okay, we want dinners. Like, this is great. We want dinners. What do you do? Give us prices. Give us like the whole
sign me up.
Gamma.
But the funny thing was that it was just on, again, it was great because one, they most people knew of it or knew somebody that had kind of already experienced the dinner. Yeah. Or lunch, or you've even done overnights where you get dinner, brunch, and lunch, and then we're out, sort of thing, depending on where you're located, or what the event is. But it was really cool. But all of a sudden, we were like, okay, let's like whip this into like business shape too. Where we're like, okay, let's get everything, like email account, an accountant, like this became a
full thing.
All
and
the
we're
business
like, we're like, listen, like, okay, we're only going to do Fridays, Saturdays, and then we got so busy. I opened up Thursdays, and then we got so busy after that. I started opening up Wednesdays, and then I started taking like Sundays, and then like, but this was like down the line, and then like gosh. Literally just a couple weeks ago, we're like,
we have a dinner. What do you mean we have a dinner? And so I was like, we need to get a Google Calendar where you and I morph it and we can see it.
And then
you're already like,
and then I put in all the dates and like realized I gave away all the weekends of my summer, so my summer's gone. There was multiple weeks I'm like, I have 5 dinners this week. And then I have 5 dinners the next week, and then 4 dinners the next week, which is like a great problem. But like, I'm like, yeah, we're available. Yeah, we're available. I just take them, and it's like, and then so.
This man is a no.
So we're on kind of like a week's vacation, right? Or a week and a half vacation from all dinners. But we're going to scale it back to like only Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. Because it like.
Hold on. Say it again.
Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. You heard it here first.
Yeah, we've got that.
We got this on record. Yeah, because at a certain point you do have your breaking point. And I'm assuming like you eventually with this podcast, as much as you guys love it and you're like, yeah, this is great. Like maybe like the sweet spot is 2 week, but like maybe 4 is too much, and maybe 3 is just kind of like that borderline, right?
Yeah.
As much as you like it, so it's like this kind of like. And I'm very much like
you too much candy.
Yeah,
like you want the sweetness and you love it and whatever, and then
you're like,
tail and you're like.
But I'm also someone who does not like saying no to people because I like we meet so many fascinating people.
Yeah,
and
the spectrum is crazy.
The dinners like that we do are great, but like the conversations we hear are some of the most interesting. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they like you're just like listening because it's like this is so good, like just whatever they're talking about. And that's the beauty of this model is like you can say and do whatever shit you want in your house that you wouldn't do at an actual restaurant because it's just not like you're in someone else's space. You're in the beauty of your own home with your friends or your family. You could be in sweatpants if you want to, and we'll cook you a 5-course meal. You could you know how many.
Oh my God! Even so one thing we go into people's homes, and some people feel like we've been in the most humblest home ever, which is like super quaint and really tiny and like old appliances and whatever. Yeah. Brandon's cooked the most amazing meal out of it.
Right.
To the spectrum to being like the most beautiful mansions, or even cottages or chalets, state of the art everything. Great, or some stuff it's like it doesn't work, or like there's hot water, but not like enough to
the spectrum of stuff like, we see here experience is just so fascinating to us, and especially me. But like
people are awesome.
You would be amazed to know how many older like generation, like 55 plus. They love drugs. They love drugs. We have clients that probably pop Molly halfway through. So when they're just done dessert, they're like, Brandon, we're going, and we're like, yo, you guys have a good night. We're just gonna walk. We're gonna clean up, and we're just gonna leave. I'll talk to you in the morning, but you guys. Do your stuff. And that's the beauty of this concept is like you can do whatever you want because once we cook the dinner, we cook, we clean. You're free to go about your merry way and do whatever you want. But mostly every dinner involves drugs at some point. Yeah. No, and I never would have thought about like 55-year-old like parents just like, yo, you want to do, and they're like,
but there's a demographic. There's a formula. It's kind of funny. The 20, like 30, 40 down below, they're into like stuff. It's the 40 and ups that are always hitting weed. Always.
Like,
or gummies.
Gummies,
in between courses.
Do you guys want gummies? Do you guys want gummies? Yeah. I'm like, is this like a new thing for you guys? Are you guys like kids that ever see, like, oh my god, we our parents don't know this, like, but it's
so
like
funny. But but to be fair, like they all have the one thing I take from every dinner, out of all of these is that it's a beautiful experience that people have been like, these are their people. Like, this is their core group, because over the last while, everyone's been kind of cautious of going out or their bubbles or whatever you want. But there's a special, intimate reason why they've chosen this circle of people to be at this table. Yeah. So, one, they brought Brandon. Two, it's usually they love him for like.
Don't forget yourself. You're a key element of Le Melon.
Well, thank you. Thank you. No, it's fun because I never thought I was going to fall into this place with this. Like, Brandon's the chef. I have my other thing as my career, but it kind of fell in when one day you had to go up north to one of the clients, and I joined you. But it actually flew into like a really beautiful synergy between us, and you can trust. Like, we can trust each other. Yeah, like, we were friends to start. That grew into relationship. So the foundation's already there, but we could do that, and then it actually turned out to be like we have fun. Like, we do have fun. So if I ever need,
it's definitely like it's not only the level of hospitality, not hospitality, but when you're hospitable, not only from us to our clients, but our clients to us, like. It's they're just so kind, and they're so welcoming and inviting to their home. There's like, please come in. Like, what can we get you? I'm like, no, this is not how this works. What can we get you? And they're just so like, do you want a glass of wine? Do you want like we always like to, have a nice little cheers at the end or a glass of wine. And like some of the most of our clients have crazy cellars, and like some of their wines are just like things that we'll never see or I'll never be able to taste ever, and they're just like, have yourself a glass, Brandon and Britt. Like, and then we're like, we'll take a sample, but like, we'll do the course. It's like they're just so hospitable to us, and but I'm like, you're really paying us to be in your house, like, but they're just so kind and generous, and I think that's what Britt was referring to, is because over the 2 years of being locked up, to have this like intimate dinner with your friends or your family, it's just people are just so excited to have someone come in
again.
Yes, right?
To dine and also like
to laugh together.
And you're not in your house. You're in your house. You're not in a restaurant where it's like everyone's fighting for that like crown jewel of like the 7:30 rezo on a Friday night, Saturday night,
or you need a drink,
or like, sorry, Mr. Olsen, we need the table back for our third flip. It's like, you're in it. You tell us when you want it, and we'll just make whatever happen for you. And I think that's the beauty of this concept.
Yeah, we end up, if you are needing time between like courses and stuff, we kind of slow it down. Like, it's just that conversation that a front of a house and back of house would have. But it is beautiful because, it's just like people, I don't know how many times you and I have gone out for dinner. Time is of the essence now, right? So you want to go and you want to pick the right place to go to and just spend a good night and enjoy it, right? But then you go, and unfortunately with the industry being lack of employment or people not showing up or whatever, it's like all of a sudden, or short supply of everything. Like, there's the ripple effect, so to speak. But you'll go and it's just half-assed. Or like, we've gone to restaurants in Montreal where we're like, there's such an institution and they're just lacking that flow.
And it's not their fault. It's just, I guess, the way it is right now. But it's also very, it's like, there's still a cost associated with that experience, right? In a sense of like, okay,
we have these standards too. So it's like if we're our own critics as well, so it's like we always kind of fall back. Or when we are able to like just have a night out together, we're like, we don't want to talk business too much, but like, is there anything you feel we could like tighten up or whatever? But it's good. It's fun.
So did you start with your chocolate company or did you start with a restaurant?
I started with a fried chicken pop-up.
Okay.
Where? I've been doing fried chicken. Brandon's Fried Chicken was like a pop-up ever since 2010. It started 2010. I'd pop up in alleyways or restaurant in front of restaurants that like Unlovable on Dundas West. Their little patio. I'd do like once a month on a Sunday, or
cool.
a day that, a restaurant is like, listen, we got nothing going on. Do you want to come and take over?
Okay. You take over an existing restaurant.
Existing restaurant.
Oh,
so
that's
I did Barvolo has cast days.
Okay.
And I did back-to-back years as a vendor for like the 3-day beer event, and then that led to a pop-up at the Royal Theatre on College for 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, like I was also unemployed at the time, and I was just like, it's like I left Bar Isabel as a chef to open up La Banana, and just the trials and tribulations of capital, investors, and finding the right space. I was like, I'll just do pop-ups. So like I did a few, private dinners, and I became a server. I was an Uber driver. I was just like, whatever. I did this pop-up at the Royal, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get back in the chocolate. So I took whatever profit from the pop-up, from the fried chicken pop-up, and that was my capital to start up CXBO on College Street. Yeah. And again, like it was only like, I think I profited only $15,000. So I had $15,000. I signed a lease, and I was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm just going to figure this out. So again, it was like I was saying, it was just like, it was still DIY, but like once we got that first like initial coverage, it just went skyrocketed, but I didn't have the foundation built. And that's why we were like trying to kind of like skeptical, like this is still like an unknown thing, like where we're at of like how can we make all this work, and like logistics and that and that. So I was just like having like PTSD of like chocolate company over
like,
again.
Oh, no,
like, oh my God, here we go again. But actual restaurant. And then the chocolate led into my first restaurant. Then led into other creations, and then eventually, leaving my restaurants to kind of take some time off, but also COVID, and then which led into me and Brittany starting Le Melon, right?
But did you get your experience? Where did you get most of your experience running a kitchen? Like being in a restaurant, managing a restaurant? I'm
originally from Burlington, but I've lived in Toronto. I'm almost 40. I lived in Toronto since I was 18. I started at, back in the day at Zoom Cafe and Bar, Rain. Worked a little bit at Souser. I opened up George on Queen, and Brittany. I think a lot of our relationship are we've crossed paths in life. One of Brittany's first jobs was at St. Joseph Media in the same building. So I'm sure we've crossed paths many times in the same building and not knowing
like in
it.
corridors or something.
And
definitely
then
you must have served me lunch, like when
right,
I was
something
grabbing
like that.
lunch at the pass there.
And then I moved to California for 2 years to work with Thomas Keller at the French Laundry, Bouchon, and Ad Hoc.
Cool.
Came back, got a job with Grant Van Gameren at the Black Hoof. He moved on. I became the chef at the Black Hoof, and then he offered me a job as chef de cuisine Bar Isabel when he opened it up. And then I went on my own ways. But in terms of chocolate, I grabbed a pot, a bowl, and a bag of chocolate, and I worked it out. I'm not one. I'm pretty sure I failed George Brown culinary because I'm not one to be lectured or be like in a room of people listening to someone talk about something that I might find irrelevant, and I also like if I'm not talking or doing anything, I'm sleeping. So I definitely slept through most of my college. I actually brought a pillow to all my theory classes and actually slept on the ground. I was just like, I'm a practical guy, Brittany. You know this. And trust me, I fucked up a lot of shit. I've overcooked so many pieces of meat. I've overcooked everything. I've also undercooked. So it's just like, I'm very much like, I learn by doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And it's like, you are
a perfectionist though, and I have to say, like any protein he's ever made is like banger. Like it is.
But it comes years of overcooking many proteins.
True,
it's
true.
like,
but so is everything else, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
At least you start with the love and the passion of something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you definitely are, I would say.
If you saw in 2000, because I opened up, actually no, CXBO was my second company. I had a very small stint of my first chocolate company called Neslo Chocolates. Okay. It's Olsen spelled backwards.
Oh.
It's like Willy Wonka, Honka Washa Wash. Wonka Wash spelled backwards. I sunk 20 grand into that company, and within 2 months it was bankrupt.
Oh. Wow.
But like, I was also 25 years old. I had no business. Like, I had no idea how to run a corporation. I was like, yeah, I'll just go take this money and buy this. If you saw my house of just me trying to learn how to temper in this, you'd be like, Brandon, like, we need a deep clean. Like, it was everyone. Like, how does, like, it was so brutal. But my house smelled like chocolate. It was great. But like, in 2 months, that corporation was like just. But in doing so,
one of a kind, remember?
Oh yeah, I did that one of a kind show, and it just like tanked me. It was just like, but I had the vision of CXBO, but it didn't have the skills or the business sense to make it happen. So I was like, I took whatever equipment I still owned, and I just put it in storage. Like, one day I'm just going to come back to you, and I was like. So in 2015, I was like, wait a minute, I have all this equipment, and now I have the skills to do it. And it's actually the vision I had in 2010. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want. Colorful, I want pop, I want like art meets chocolate meets food, like just like Willy Wonka vibes. Like, this is what I want. Yeah. But like, if you saw my place, it was so like, Brandon, what are you doing? I'm like, but it smelled good. It really smelled good. When people would come and be like, Brandon, it smells really good to him. I'm like, yep.
Those chocolates were, I remember like had tried them. That's when I first like knew of your name. It's like we finally meet IRL today. But I also, they were in so many press packages because I'd get like press things, you know, influencer type packages, and they were in everything. And I was always like,
not another CXBO box. This is so bad.
No, it was great. Yeah, but I mean, I'd see like, you know, it was like
they were fantastic.
They were hot.
I had no idea that it was a person from Toronto at the beginning. And that's saying, I mean, something good in the sense that I associated them with like an international brand or a European brand. Or absolutely.
Luxurious.
And I think that, you know, I really, when Talia told me that actually, you know, it's Brandon Olsen from Toronto, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And because you had, the way that you approached chocolate and turned them into an art form was entirely unique, and it was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, like at that point in 2015 when we launched that company, like there was really nothing, like, you know,
it was like Lindo's.
Around. There was really no chocolatiers. Like, Soma's a great chocolate, but they don't work with color.
Right? Yeah, there's no color.
There's no color. So
it's
when we came out, like, people were like, "Oh my god, what is this? Never seen this before."
Shades of brown.
Shades of brown. But now there's so many beautiful chocolatiers in Toronto that are doing beautiful chocolates with color and just art and ingredients. But like, I think CXBO was definitely a trailblazer of first of its kind for Toronto to be like, wow, what are these? And then also being like, you know, great gifts, great whatever. But I also didn't want, like, I grew up in a house where, like, you know, you go to your grandma's house and it's like Laura Secords. No offense, right? But it's just like, I hate fondant.
But you're saying CXBO. I'm saying Brandon Olsen chocolates. What am I screwing up?
Chocolate by Brandon Olsen.
Chocolates by Brandon Olsen.
I
didn't want the Donna Karen effect where it's like she sold her name and I could never put my name on something else. So we kind of got rid of Chocolates by Brandon Olsen. We just abbreviated it to CXBO. Yeah, that's also which is also another problem because people would thought that was like a word, like Haagen-Dazs. They're like, no, it's just abbreviated by Chocolates by Brandon Olsen.
A lot of people don't know that. So
right,
but then again, a lot of it is what Talia is saying, and she would just say Brandon Olsen chocolates, Brandon Olsen, you know. But yeah, no, we just kind of abbreviated so I could keep my name and do other things with my name.
Like same with Brandon's Fried Chicken.
Brandon's Fried Chicken. I just license my name, Brandon Olsen. Just put Brandon Olsen on a book.
It's a very brandable name,
right?
Lots of things.
No, it's always been good, and now we're trying to kind of reinvent the wheel again, and so to speak, or even just like bring it back, because now that everything was tied up in the, well, just call it out as what it was. Toronto Life just basically exposed your what?
Yeah, no,
get with the juice.
I guess. But we're probably gonna, you know, think about maybe coming back with another like iteration of a chocolate company. I do miss it. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but like it is something we constantly talk about amongst our many conversations of what we want to achieve in this life. But like chocolate is one of them, right? So.
Well, you got all that equipment in storage, honey. So
unfortunately not. Unfortunately, I don't have it. But I still have my mind in my hands. I can definitely make the chocolate, right? But
yeah, I encourage you to, because I knew it was something you really loved.
Yeah,
it was like the beginnings of, but you also like knew how to work it, which is good. We just gotta think of a name. Now that we're out of like how many times can we spin Brando?
You know how hard is it to make a name?
Oh do we ever?
It
took a long time for this podcast.
We went through this whole naming exercise, and it went on. It was actually one of the hardest parts.
It's crazy.
Doing the podcast is not hard.
Not hard.
Getting the studio, we got it together. The name and
it's
trying to define what it is, it was so challenging.
Yeah, it really
it's the worst.
And then also too, we really scored when we made Cast of Creators, because we got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We got all of but finding a name and we got the .com. But that is like unheard of.
Yeah.
To get all of those with a new name that someone doesn't have yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny because we had cast of characters. Like we had this concept.
That's a good one.
Cast of characters.
Right?
And we had that because we've got our bunch of hover UFO characers, and each one's got a different passion, and whether it's sports or whatever. And we had cast of characters years ago. And then I guess as we were going through the potential names, we fell on cast of creators, and it was perfect because we knew we wanted creators, because we knew that pretty well. We looked at everybody who we wanted to have, and they were creating something cool or doing something inspiring, and it just fell into place, and we're really happy about it actually, because there's so many names that just don't work,
Yeah,
and you're like, no, that's a dumb name. No, that's not going to work.
That's literally what happened, and we were like, no.
We just got a new car the other day, and we're like, we got to name the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and like we're just shooting out all these names. Like we're not naming that car. What do we? Frenchie's the car. But like you just say all these things, and you're just like, oh no, that's dumb. And then you get so like, no, I'm gonna like back burner this thing because I'm just like, I'm just so frustrated, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this, and just like, but you have to deal with it, and it's just
business, like naming a kid, like it's so important to you.
Yeah, and then you stick with it, and then it's there, and you look at it and interact with it all the time.
Yeah, and then you have to look at it, right? Like the stickers and the branding,
the business, not the kid.
Did you ever imagine a child's name for your child, Casey?
No, I'm not having any, and I never imagined a name. No. No.
Well, we ended up having fun too with a puppy.
Yeah, I know.
That's fun.
We always kind of considered Frankie.
That's cute.
Yeah.
And then we met our puppy, and then one day we met him. And
then
we had to wait a few weeks for him to have his like shots and be ready to go, whatever. So I remember one day we were driving down the street, as we do, where we normally have our epiphanies. And I remember I was like, oh my God, Brandon, why don't we call him Chef?
Chef?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, so we have this red-haired like Clifford dog. He's a red fox.
He's a little shit right now.
Yeah, puppy stages. Anybody want a puppy for like a week?
No. I've seen puppies. They're very challenging. They're, at least a baby can't walk.
Oh, no, he can walk.
But these puppies, they can walk right away, and that's a big problem.
No, he's good. He's a little shit right now.
Where is he now? In his crate?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where he has to be.
A little love and affection before coming here. So.
Yeah. Oh, but you have to get them into a crate routine.
Brandon's trying to be that guy that walks down the street with him off the leash.
Oh.
Cool guy.
Yeah, the cool guy with the dog.
Cool guy,
like,
cool, no leash dog kind of guy,
Like
wow.
Or you have the
guy who a lot of people don't like.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because I get I'm not really animals. I get nervous. So when someone has their dog off leash, I'm like, ah!
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind at 6:30 in the morning when no one's on the street.
No, that's different. Yeah, I have a friend and she has a Doberman, but it's not really. It's also kind of a puppy, like a year old, but she doesn't have that good a handle on it, and she does it off leash, and it's not good because it runs up to people and jumps on them, and it's a big dog. He's pretty
obedient
chill.
in certain aspects.
He's very good. But, I have to say, he is very good.
Brittany, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Ancaster, like Hamilton, Ancaster.
Oh, I know Ancaster. Okay, so you two grew up kind of close to each other.
Oh my God, we
have so many. Our life has intersected in so many ways. Not only in working in the same building, but apparently her cottage was right down the street from my cottage our whole lives, and I didn't even notice that until
on the same lake.
Yeah, on the same lake. I'm like, yo, do you
I was on the other side of the lake, like not far, and so the lock would be a place, an ice cream little shop that you'd go to.
Yeah, I know Port Severn.
Yeah, me too.
It's on the
you go across the lock,
it was such a nice,
and you go to the only
convenience
convenience store that sold the Lolas. Do you remember Lolas? They're triangle popsicles.
No.
Oh, yeah. You push them up.
Oh, yeah. I totally.
Yeah,
okay.
Lolas.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, man.
I can picture them now.
I would just remember going every night, if we were at the cottage, we'd have, after dinner, take a walk, go get Lolas. So VHSs still existed.
Yeah, rent.
DVDs didn't really exist at this time. Go to, and you grab the sticker of like 4289, and you're like, okay, 4289. It's probably like Speed or something. I don't know. And then you're like, here's the DVD or the VHS, right? But yeah, like our life has intersected.
Wow.
And we've kind of mapped it out, but we've never met until 2019. Until the omelet. The famous omelet.
Yeah. It was at work function.
I wasn't the one acting inappropriately, Britt. Right. I was being paid by the client.
Yes, but it turned into
it turned into this beautiful thing.
I still remember the first dinner we had with your family, your dad, and that was the only time he cooked for me at that point. Then we go to dinner, and his dad's like, "Oh, does he cook for you?" I'm like, "Actually
not.
This is the second dinner I've had."
Yeah.
But every time we were going out or just grabbing something to eat instead at that point. But I think it was duck. Yeah,
a duck.
The final, solid protein was duck. Got me starving.
How many courses will you do for these dinners? Your clients' dinners most of the time.
We do about 5 courses plus raw bar canapé service to start. So it's about,
nice.
If the dinner if guests arrive at 7, usually it's about 3.5 hour dinner, right? So no different than going to a restaurant. So we always start with either raw bar or past canapes, and then we sit down into the 5 course. There's a lot of classic Brandon dishes that are built into the menu that people love. The albacore tuna with the brown butter and capers. Usually for the dessert is what everyone wants is the famous bass cake that I gave Bar Isabel. And then we always kind of change up the middle 3 based up on seasonality. So there's always the tuna, another appetizer or pasta, main fish, main meat, and then dessert, right? So yeah, you're looking about 3.5 hours between once you start the raw bar to the last bite of your dessert is about 3.5 hours, right? Not dirt, but dessert. And then it really it's customizable based on food restrictions or allergies or what's in season, right? And normally we don't, because we don't consider ourselves caterers. We're actually an in-home dining experience. So menus don't exist 5 months out. I usually I contact my clients, they reserve it beforehand, and then I contact them about a week before. I'm like, okay, this is what's in season. This is what I'm thinking.
What do you think?
What do you want to do? You want to play ball? Let's go.
Yeah.
And then we come over and cook.
And then you will basically go out and source all of that from a handful of places, or where are you going to find all that product from?
Our purveyors are everywhere in Toronto, and most of them are the purveyors that I've used at our restaurants or any restaurant that I've worked in. So, Cumbres, Diana Seafood, Nadia Truffles, Majestic Caviar, but they're if I can get them to deliver wherever I'm cooking out of, great. If not, I'm going up the DVP to Diana's, hitting Bayview for Combrays, going to like Christie Pitts to pick up my truffles.
Right.
My supplier just leaves them in a unmarked bag in her mailbox, like it's like some kind of drug deal, right?
They get off the plane.
It
and
is.
They,
It's
or
like
off the truck. And
it's like literally here it is. Brandon's in the mailbox. I'm like, great. But it's kind of like as we do more of these, I find more producers. Like I found this really great seafood purveyor in St. Lawrence Market that I'm really into right now called Mike's Seafood. But it's like we just kind of like farmers markets. I have a lot of purveyors in Kensington so it's not the problem, but the logistical issue is trying to like coordinate all this because I don't know normally where we're prepping out of, so it's kind of like, can I borrow your kitchen? Can I borrow your kitchen? It's kind of like I can't just dump all my purveyors in their lap and for them to deal with. So I kind of like organize it all and just show up and get things going and then go to the client's house and finish it off, whatever needs to be finished. Right,
because there's a lot of time in prep for that dinner.
people don't. The one thing I would say is that
5
people
hours of prep,
who
6
are
hours
just
of prep.
arriving. Like again, like the person who just gets, the person who just comes, sits in a coffee shop for hours to use their Wi-Fi,
Right.
ends up having like a sour when they get billed something for like their tea. It's like, oh my God, but the tea bag and then the dishwasher and like the server that came over to say hi to you and the Wi-Fi that you paid for and also the 4 walls that you sat and like all that kind of stuff. There are added little costs and people don't really think about it. They just think of the convenience that they just were able to sit there. So it's us and you're like mostly you, the logistics of getting all those individual ingredients. Like it's not all just one stop. It's multiples.
You're not popping by Loblaws and just, getting a bunch of
and
stuff.
then so it's like logistically giving enough time, then driving. Traffic in Toronto is like we're all of a sudden in LA. Like we're
like for a typical dinner, like if we try to like if we have multiple dinners, I try to like bulk prep. So, if I know that like 3 out of the 4 dinners are going to do this and 2 out of the 4 dinners are going to do this, I kind of like make my life easier. But normally I'm out the door by like 7 o'clock in the morning, going to my purveyors and grabbing everything and trying to like organize it all.
It'd be cool
and
to
we're
follow
walking
you.
home.
There's, like, a video.
We're walking like by the time I'm done and like just getting home, it's like maybe 12:45. So you're looking at like, a full day. Like you're looking at 15, 16 hours, So it's no different than a restaurant life.
Right.
But it's just for we got to just like, we just don't have a home base to have all the deliveries come at once, right? It's kind of like...
Not yet, but
Not yet.
coming.
But,
Yeah,
well.
because it's just like, again, with this new business or new like growing pains sort of thing and just finding like the right spot, playing ball with like, if we're leasing versus owning landlords, that's a whole thing in Toronto.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just finding like the right people to like, it's the right fit. But also like everything's made to order. So it's like the sauces down to the vignettes, down to like, he makes his own pasta. The pasta is like the very last thing. It's the freshest thing, like hours before dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
good.
yeah. And it is like, it is a long day, but I don't get to cook anymore. So like when I do, it's like really like,
It's
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
like half-fast it, and I I get pleasure out of doing that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can still cook,
Yeah, but you've also challenged yourself. Like,
For sure. No, you're not wrong. Like, come up with new ideas and new things.
And what works. Because, like, one thing I've noticed, I've never had this experience because I wasn't in your shoes, but when people have dietary restrictions or, like, religious things, so you can't, like, butter, dairy, anything like that, or gluten-free, he's found variations. And I've seen him toss things, like, so much out because it didn't work, and then he's finally perfected it. Or, again, finding that right thing based on people, like, also, too, if you live with a gluten allergy, like, what has worked for you? Cool. You taking that key component or note from one client and then been able to use it. You've also been roasted by like clients that was a chef at one point. Sorry, I gotta bring it up. But he helped you.
No,
It
it's
was
definitely.
it was like food for thought, but he was the only one that actually like.
A lot of
everyone's
it's also a very humbling experience to cook for people, and people are like, hey, like this is good, but I feel this could be better if this, right? And then so it's always like it's also a very much a learning experience in how to evolve this company or just me as a chef, right? And how to become better or just think differently, right? Because I'm very also like. My way of being like a ginger Aries, I'm so stubborn. I'm like, no, this is my like. I'm like, so I'm like, so I'm like when someone's like, no, have you thought about this? Mostly my wife, or if I have a client who's like, I had one client just totally rip me apart, and he did it in a very constructive way, but I knew that he was going to rip me apart. I thought about it. I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. And it wasn't like it was a flawless meal, but he just like
it actually was. It was beautiful.
He just like listen, this and this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna incorporate that into the next couple dinners, and now it's become like kind of like a gold standard, right?
Yeah.
So. Another time though too, I love it. Like everyone comes, like the characters at the table. Some you get it, like this is their crew, like they're tight, whatever. Others you're like, I don't understand, like what is going on here?
And how do these people get together?
Yeah, and then there's some where we've had big families, and so you get the dynamic of the family, right? So it's like you got your brothers, sisters, or cousins, or then aunts and uncles, and like just generations of everybody. So it's cool because you really see the dynamic, and like kids running around and whatever, and people are just like, But then you have people that show up in the kitchen. Those people that they cook, like it could be the mom or the dad or whomever, but they're the ones that
you would be this person. You would definitely be the person like you leave your party to come watch me in the kitchen and start be like, I'm going to make a cooking class out of this. And I'm going to like start cooking with you or just ask you every single question possible. So like, I'm going to learn something for you. Like, I can tell you how many times like I'm in like, cause it's just me cooking and Britt serving for like, say 12 people.
Yeah.
And like, it is like logistical, like puzzle.
And
then you have someone beside you being like, okay, so we're going to do that. Oh, can I serve that for you? Like this. I'm like, I'm also very much like, this is my space, like,
it's not like someone hovering.
Hovering, yeah.
I have a family member that hovers when I'm cooking at the cottage, and I'm like, can you back off?
Yeah,
and there's no subtle hint of being like, okay, like you can go sit down, or like, hey, like I'm kind of like might be just a little too busy to like break down the chemical structure of this or the every body part of a cow because I'm kind of slicing up a cow right now. It's like, hey, so what do you like? Okay, this is how I do this. I'm like, that's great, man. Like this,
totally.
But that's you. I know that's you for sure.
Yes, in a way, although I would have some restraint. I would sense, try and do a better job of sensing you a bit.
So funny.
But that's what I'd maybe want to do.
And, like, doing the dishes. And just, like,
for sure.
I realized you were doing a cooking show.
Yeah. But it's always is no dinner's the same, and which I really enjoy that because it's like you just get to meet the coolest people, and everyone has a story.
Yeah,
everyone has like a really great energy, and they always like they want to talk. They want to know as much as about you as much as you want to know about them. Like last night we were at a baseball game. We saw a client we cooked for the week before, and he just came over and said, "Hey, Brandon and Britt, how's it going?" Like it's just a really like I'm just so amazed by the experiences that we've had for cooking for people.
So you've got this week off, and then you must be going into a lot of Muskoka cooking.
No.
And, like, what are you doing this summer?
We don't.
Everybody booked up. Like, everybody. Like, we do get those last-minute ones, or if we get a cancellation, we flip it up, and it's gone. Like, it's gone right away.
Yeah.
People are hovering.
Most of we only have one weekend this whole summer in Muskoka. And it's mid-July. I was like, I'm going to try to, like, take off all of July, but obviously you just can't. And I said busy. Yes to a luncheon and dinner in Muskoka, but that's the only, most of them in Toronto.
Most of them in Toronto?
Yeah, and it's great. It starts back up next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's great.
And if it is up north or something, then we either have a family cottage, or then like last weekend, it was up at Salvo. I was like, hey, let's go check out the June Motel if we can get a spot. So we kind of made
stay
it
there?
Yeah, it was actually really cute. I've not followed them, not been to Prince Edward County. Knew that they had done a show, but never really dived into it. So I was like, let's see if they're open. And literally where they were located to the dinner, like
Nice.
5-minute drive. Yeah. But we got to go to Southampton, check out stuff. Like I hadn't been up there since I was
Yeah,
little.
I used to go there all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was actually the place was good, but you make what you can out of it and kind of feel like it's a passion project.
Yeah.
But we do look forward to like eventually having a brick and mortar, I think. But I think the model of it would be a lot smaller and intimate. We've seen models like work to the advantage of it.
Problem with Toronto is just like, in comparison to, say, Paris, having a 20-seat Parisian bistro, you'll never, like,
survive.
3 months in, you're gonna be shutting your doors. Like Toronto needs bigger restaurants. I've owned a big restaurant. It's a hard life. It's a hard struggle. Like, and like missing 2 weeks on, say, a Friday, Saturday, like
due to weather or whatever.
Due to weather or whatever, if you're not hitting that top line, it's hard. So it's like, I would love in a perfect scenario to have like a 30-seater.
Yeah.
But like, where are you going to find a space that sits 30 seats, and where are you going to like be able to like, with the rising cost of goods and all this, it's like, the model doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's broken. You know, so it's like, you know, as much as we talk about this and we always talk about what the model would be in a perfect scenario, it's like, how do you make that work, right? And is it really, maybe it's just, this is a thing that has a lifespan of 5-10 years where it's just us, or maybe it does turn into a brick and mortar, you know, because I would love to own a restaurant with my wife and get back into like, you know, having a place to just cook and for people to come. But it's also just like, what's the trade-off, and is it realistic? And now, not to say maybe it's one day we just wake up and like, let's move to Paris or Lyon and just find that 30-seater.
Yeah. Well, is it climate related too? Like, even if you're in the southern states, like
in terms of what?
Like weather. You
For
can't
sure,
keep
like
a patio going here.
Toronto's weather's the worst. Like, as much as I love Toronto weather, like the good season is only like
could be worse, could be
3-4 months.
Yeah.
And then you have rain and this, and then like,
and then the dark of winter comes.
The dark of winter comes, and then everyone's like, I don't want to go out in midweek. And you're like, no, come midweek. We need you. Where if you were to go, you know, more to the south, you do get extended weather where you can like have a patio all year long, right? So we do have our disadvantages in Toronto, but we also have our other advantages that other places don't have, right? So it's kind of like that balancing act.
When you crunch the numbers on a brick and mortar, is there that much more profit there than just running a successful business that you're doing? Like, if the brick and mortar is successful, is it that much more lucrative?
Well, it's
in this city,
like in terms of the
amount of money you're going to make.
You're going to make like less money at owning a brick and mortar.
Yeah, because the overhead cost.
Because the overhead cost is so big. It's
right.
Like rent.
That's what I'm imagining.
Staff, like
you've got all these added costs.
You have all these added costs, but the beauty about Melon is like we can increase or decrease the dinners as we see fit, because we're not beholden to rent. You know, we don't have to pay landlord. So if we're like, hey, we want to take 6 months off and pick it up in the winter,
have freedom.
We have freedom, and that's what you commit. You lose by committing yourself to like a full on bricks and mortar. Like, you're committed to this for your lease period, so forth, right? And then it's like you're also depending on making sure that you're always full. Where it's like, okay, you know that you have X dinners per week or a month, and you can make a business model off of that and be like, great. You know, where it's like you need to hit like La Banane, we needed like 300 to 320 top line every period just to possibly see a profit. Right. Wow. That's a big.
Space was big.
Space was big. Everything's big. the cost of food is big. Restaurants is, like, in my mind, it is a very much it's not a necessity of life. Food is a necessity of life. Restaurants are not. You know, it's a very my brain is.
I would kind of borderline on that though, because I do find people
luxury.
need it. Like people,
non-necessity.
It's a non-necessity. Right. It's luxury. It's a very much a elitist thing to have the ability to go to restaurants. Right. So it's like, you know, when pandemics hits, first thing to go, restaurants out, because you know you're going to spend X. You know, but you can save that and stretch that out for a long period of time.
Oh, right? So getting takeout all the time.
But then it was too, like, with the level of food, then it's like, is it worth it? Will it be like, will it travel well? Will you still get the same experience?
Can I buy some of that fresh pasta and a sauce? Because I would like to do. I would like those kind of things. So can I just make an order online and then you could just make it and people can
we'll do that for you.
Specific dishes? Because that sounds
we
like
never
a nice
thought about
idea.
doing like a I know a few chefs have done like pop-up meal kits.
Meal kits.
And
because I get good food right now, but
oh, nice.
Yes, but it's been great. I get like 2 meals a week for the last like 6 months, and it starts my week off right, and then I have leftovers, and but I really love that meal kit kind of idea, and I would.
Maybe that's something we can look into.
One thing we thought about
would be cool.
You've done it before where people were doing in the beginning. Everyone's just trying to, like, we're at home for a little bit. Not a long time, but a little time. But let's make it interesting. So people were doing cooking classes. But you got, like, we would get a box of suppliers so everyone kind of can do something still with all of their produce and people can, like, still keep, like, their name out there or whatever. But then you'd get your friends together, your office together, and then Brandon would be the person that would be cooking for you. Yes,
I did a few different things like that, and they had like
cocktails,
had media people do them, and then to get the word out, you know.
So stuff like that. Fun. Yeah, they were. Yeah. I've participated in them many times over with different chefs too, and that was something. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But right now, it's like it's a wild ride, and it's ever changing, but it's so fun.
Well, we wish you all the success, the continued success with it. And thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Goes pretty quick.
How long have we been talking for? Oh my!
Almost an hour and 10 minutes.
I have to say though, it brings me back to those SNL days when it was like the sweaty equals or like you know the new. Doesn't it tell me you
that was
didn't think
actually
about
a topic of conversation in the car? Sweaty.
No, like remember when SNL was like so good, the originals, and they were like, oh hello.
Well, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Good conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun. Like it is cool, and it is like how people pivoted the experience. But we've been able to make it work, which is neat.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
love it.
We look forward to cooking for you, though.
Yeah,
I would love that. I'd love to get back together and cook together more.
I would love to eat.
We can do some omelets and all sorts of stuff.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
Okay.
It's happening.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Cast of Creators with Brandon and Brittany Olsen. I just rewatched it, and honestly, I'm feeling pretty hungry now.
If you've missed any episodes of Cast of Creators, watch them on YouTube, listen on your favorite podcast platform, or visit castofcreators.com.
And make sure you follow and subscribe.